What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here, UnsleevedMedia, and while I was at Gen Con this year, I picked up probably 40 different games for us to look at. We've got a lot to talk about here in August, September, October, getting people ideas for Christmas and so on. Part of the allure of Gen Con is that there are many new exclusives that get released there, just like Star Wars, the X-Wing miniatures, which was released at Gen Con back in 2012. It's basically a miniature tactical dogfighting game that you play between two players. Now, they had second edition come out, I believe this dropped at Gen Con. So while my friend Zach was in line at Fantasy Flight to try and get a hold of one of their newer games, I asked him, can you help a brother out and get me this and then the Legends of Five Rings role-playing game so I could go over both on the channel? He did so. Appreciate you, Zach. So this is basically according to, if we check their website, you can read this. They have great tutorials too. I'll link in the description. It's a fierce ship-to-ship combat. Each round, carefully plot a course for each of your ships, trying to anticipate enemy movement. That's one cool thing about the game. You pick like a maneuver, right? And it's displayed face down. And then when you reveal it, this is how you combat. It's actually very interesting. And it's got like 4 different phases. It's got the planning phase, the activation phase, the combat phase, and the end phase. So you're moving things around, trying to position yourself in for the best attack. And you also have different upgrades and things like that that you can put on each particular ship. Each particular ship has its own stats, weapons, things like that.
Control the most advanced starfighters and skilled pilots in the galaxy. In the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game, you will command a group of merciless Imperial or daring Rebel pilots in furious ship-to-ship space combat. Take control of TIE fighters, X-Wings, and other ships from the Star Wars universe and pit them against each other in thrilling tactical battles. Win by eliminating all of your opponent's ships or complete the objectives in one of X-Wing's pre-generated missions. The X-Wing core set includes all the components necessary for 2 players to get started, as well as several missions offering unique victory conditions.
So they say, as commander of your squadron, you begin each round by deciding how your pilots will fly their ship. As in the first edition, every ship in X-Wing second edition flies differently with a completely unique maneuver dial. Using these maneuver dials, you'll secretly select the ship's maneuver at the top of each round. Once the maneuver has been locked in for every ship, it's time to start flying.
Stabilize your rear deflectors. Watch for enemy fighters.
X-Wing is played over a series of rounds, each consisting of 4 phases: the planning phase, activation phase, combat phase, and end phase. In this 2-player example, both players have moved their ships into attack range and are preparing to begin a new round. The Rebel player commands Luke Skywalker's T-65 X-Wing fighter, which has been equipped with proton torpedoes and an R2 unit. The Imperial player commands 2 TIE fighters, piloted by Night Beast in a standard TIE fighter, and Mauler Mithil, who has an upgrade in marksmanship.
Any squadron is composed of pilots of varying skills, from rookies encountering their first action to hardened veterans used to the din of battle. Because of this, each pilot will react to their surroundings differently. On every ship card, you'll find an initiative value that represents the pilot's reflexes, skill, and even their luck. The initiative value determines when your ships will act. During the round, the lowest skilled pilots are forced to move first as they attempt to get into position to open fire. Now, when you begin your attack run, it's a coordinated attack that is essentially essential to catching the enemy in your sights. But fancy flying will only take you so far. To win, you must take advantage of the ship's systems and capabilities. Like in the first edition, every X-Wing second edition ship has a unique set of actions it can take. Unless the pilot is stressed, each ship can perform an action after it moves. Your pilots may focus and clear their minds of distractions, take evasive action, acquire a deadly target lock on an enemy ship, barrel roll to adjust their position, or activate additional thrusters to boost them forward. So you have all sorts of activities you can do, and then you'll roll your die. For example, the TIE Fighter's attack is 2. So we'll roll 2 red dice and an attack against an X-Wing. As the X-Wing has an agility of 2, it would roll 2 green defense dice. Each evade symbol cancels a single hit or a critical hit, but shots that connect will cause damage. So there's a bit of RNG with the die rolling that people don't necessarily love. But in this game, you can do a lot in terms of mitigating your RNG by pre-planning, picking the right matchups, and all sorts of stuff like that. Each game takes 30 to 45 minutes, and you've got 2 players. So you've got kind of a competitive scene here. Let's actually look at it. Let's open it. I mean, the thing, you know, you purchased the dang thing. It was about $40, but they also have all sorts of other things you can get. So inside here, ooh, ouch. It's kind of fun to look at different games, different setups than just Magic cards. Of course, later today I will have a Magic video because that's ultimately what this channel is all about. Here we have, you get the 3 ships, 3 plastic small ship bases, the pegs, the tokens, the maneuver dials, ID tokens, lock tokens, all sorts of stuff. Then you got your hyperspace markers, upgrade cards, so much. Now the X-Wing is, how do you say, you can buy a lot of different ships. You can spend a lot of money in X-Wing, but what's cool about it, in my opinion, is you also get, you know, the actual figures. So if you're into collecting them, you know, you have that collectability, which is, of course, very smart in terms of getting people. Let's actually go back to the top screen here. We've got all of your dials, everything like that comes in here, easy. You got to pop all these out. Then you've got your winter catalog, of course. The game I think he wanted, so you've got Star Wars Armada, Imperial Assault, you've got the X-Wing miniatures, Star Wars Rebellion, Arkham Horror. What was the game he wanted to buy? Then we've got Star Wars Destiny, which is behind me. We'll go through that soon. Twilight Imperium, that's also very good. Expensive. Maybe the game wasn't out yet. I don't think it was out yet. So all he came out of Fantasy Flight with was my stuff. You've got your expansion and conversion kits. That's where you can really get into spending some dough in this. So it's not necessary. It's cheap to get started, but it's not exactly a cheap game. So you've got your rule book here, and then you've got all of the cards you need. You even got your pilots. You've got your Luke Skywalker there. You've got your die. You've got your distance measuring, and then you've got your stands. I'm going to actually go to the overhead camera to show you the figures because they look really cool. So here you've got your X-Wing. My only gripe about them, and again, the price is so cheap, $40. And then you have 2 TIE Fighters. These seem a little nicer. The detail is pretty good. You know, the paint is pretty good. I wish they were a little more substantial. Like, they're definitely kind of like cheap plastic. But I guess, you know, you got to take care of them. You can't be tossing them around. Otherwise, you're going to break stuff off them. And that stinks because then you got to buy new figures. So you're going to want to be careful with them. But other than that, you know, you have everything you need to get started for $40. I'm curious, what do you all think of miniature games? I thought originally when I first started looking at them that, you know, I hate kind of measuring out. I hate measuring out the distance and doing all that kind of stuff. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually really fun. I watch a couple people play, stuff like that. You would definitely want to get some card sleeves for your cards. They look like they're the standard size, but lots of fun stuff. Lots of ways to expand, customize. That's Star Wars X-Wing 2.0. So if you like Star Wars and you like miniatures, wargaming kind of stuff like that, I think it's definitely worth the try for 40 bucks. I look forward to hearing what your comments are in the comments section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.